Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain about necrosis. Necrosis is a pathological process of uncontrolled or unprogrammed cell death. This is due to the exposure to extreme conditions which is very different from no more living conditions. In necrosis, there is death of tissues when lack of blood flows to the tissues. This may be due to heat, radiation, trauma, hypoxia, and chemicals. Necrosis is a death or decay of cells and it is detrimental to the patient. It is also fatal. An example of necrosis is when the blood flow is cut off to the hand in an accident and the living cells of the hands die. It is opposite to the apoptosis, which is naturally occurring and often beneficially planned cell death. The pathophysiology of necrosis is there is cut off of blood and nerve supply and there is blackish discoloration of the affected area. The reaction to necrosis. When the necrosis has started in a particular area, there is dilation of capillaries, increase of temperature and release of histamine in that area. And activation of immune system results in movement of blood and water to the area. Migration of leukocytes, macrophages to the affected area and formation of pus by dead leukocytes. In the figure, we could see clearly how the peripheral necrosis takes place in the fingers and toes. Nuclear changes. There are 3 stages in the nuclear changes: karyolysis, pyknosis, and karyorexis. Karyolysis is the loss of DNA endonucleases and nuclear fading takes place in this stage. Pyknosis is nothing but to get thickened. The nuclear shrinkage occurs and thus there is formation of a solid mass. Karyorexis is the bursting of this solid material. The solid material formed in the pyknosis stage gets fragmented and this stage is called karyorexis. Next, moving on to the necrosis process. In the necrosis process, there is pathologically some external stimuli given to the cell and the cell membrane is having a hole. Due to the hole, there is the swelling of the cell and leakage of the intracellular components through the holes of the cell membrane. Thus, the intracellular environment is altered inside the cell and there is damage of organelles. Especially mitochondria release large amount of calcium ions. Calcium causes release of toxic materials and activates lysosomal enzymes. Due to activation of lysosomal enzymes, there is degradation of cellular components and there is disassembly in the total component of the cell. This cell is ingested by the neighboring cell. The total process is known as necrosis.